Hello, my name is Liah Greenfeld. If you're watching this video, you must be interested in understanding humanity. Of course, this is the most interesting subject for us humans. The understanding that exists is not satisfactory. First of all, because it is not objective. Everyone is proclaiming one's own. Humanity is understood in one way in China, in another way in India. In India, it is understood in one way by Hindus, in a completely different way by Muslims. And then think about Europe, which is split into so many little countries, and each one of them has their own understanding. And then think about the United States of America, which is split into so many little sections, political sections, religious sections, mostly political, and they all have their own understanding. The very variability of understandings means that it is not reliable. You naturally want a reliable, that is objective understanding, the same for all, the same that exists and can always be achieved in physics about material reality, the same as exists and can always be achieved in biology about the reality of life. There may be sometimes disputes, but they can always be resolved, and the consensus of sciences is achieved. So if we think about those two examples, physics in achieving one reliable, shared, objective understanding of matter, or biology that has developed one reliable, objective, shared by all the specialists understanding of life, we need a science of humanity analogous to those two sciences. Such a science does not exist today. And I would like to dedicate this first talk to reasons why such a science does not exist today. And then proceed to developing this science of humanity. To begin with, science is a very recent phenomenon. The objects of our scientific interest, matter, life, humanity, have existed as long as humanity itself existed. So probably for at least 10,000 years. Humanity in itself is a recent reality. So, those objects of our interest, which form different elements, different and always present elements of human experience, matter, life, and ourselves, that is humanity, those objects of interest existed as long as we have existed. But for most of this period, there was no way of satisfying them, of achieving a reliable, objective understanding. So all the understandings that were attempted were subjective, relative to particular cultures and to particular material interests of the people who tried to understand reality. Those understandings were achieved by the means of speculation. That is, people thought and tried to figure out how things work, but all they had to do that, to achieve that, they had the intelligence and beliefs. And so they worked with what they had, nothing else. Science, in distinction to such speculations, is a very particular activity, very particular mental activity, very particular way of thinking. Its difference from speculation is that it uses logic and it is applied only to what is empirically accessible, that is, what exists. Now let's think, what does it mean, empirically accessible? What does it mean, empirical? This means, from the Greek root of the word empirical, this means experience. What is experienced? What is the object of our experience? Our meaning human. So empirical knowledge is the knowledge of what we experience, what we see, what we hear, what is a part of our experience. Now, science, unlike many speculations, is not trying to reach beyond experience. That is, it is trying to understand, its goal is to understand only that which we can experience. And it approaches what we can experience through the means of logic. Logic here is as important as the object of experience itself, as the empirical reality itself. Why? Because logic, what we generally designate as logic, sometimes we call it Aristotelian logic. This logic is based on the principle of no contradiction. This principle means that a thing cannot be and not be at the same time. So, because of this principle of no contradiction, logical formulations necessarily expose contradictions. So a logical formulation of understanding, let's say our explanation of some empirical phenomena, whatever they are, states logically an explanation of why this thing exists. When we apply this formulation, it must be strictly logical. When we apply a logical formulation to empirical data about the thing that we want to understand, the empirical data immediately exposes us to contradictions to our explanation. If our understanding is rough, if it is not complete, if there are faults in it, we would immediately see those faults, and then we would expand it. Of course, there are some formulations, logical formulations, that are so strong in the sense that they explain whatever it is they want to explain so perfectly that for a very long time we may not find contradictions to those explanations. Those would be very, very strong formulations and very strong understandings.